Welcome to the Mobile Application Development lecture series. Today's is a lecture 2 and today we are going to introduce to the actual syllabus of 18MCA 5th semester 18MCA52. Yesterday we had introduced in the lecture about our vision and mission of our college, and then we introduced to the various technologies available in this world on mobile applications, and today we actually introduce to the actual syllabus of mobile application development. In the introduction class, what exactly we are going to take away from today's lecture? So we will be looking into the preliminary considerations before the development of mobile applications, what all the things we need to take care. And then we have to analyze the cost of development, which is very much important. The importance of mobile strategies in this business world. What are the strategies you have to apply, whether you have to simply jump into it, what is your importance, what is your considerations, we have to look into it. Then why is mobile development so difficult? Then we have to see the mobile myths which we wrongly assume that okay, this could be all the wrong assumptions what we have. Then we will be looking into the actual UI principles, that is the effective use of screen resolution, what exactly it looks into. This is today's lecture takeaway, and before starting, let's take you to the first screen, that is preliminary considerations. What exactly we are looking into the preliminary consideration? Why do we need it? Before any project to be taken, we do a feasibility analysis, feasibility study, so that is it worth taking into it? Is it worth of spending so much time and money into it? So the same thing applies here as well. Before you start a mobile application development, you have to consider why you are going for this. Is it because of competitors? Yes, absolutely. The world is full of mobile. Mobile has acquired 98% of the world, and everyone goes through the mobile, and hardly 25% of people who go through the desktops or the laptops. And the older version of desktops of monitors is ruled out. Nowadays, everyone goes through the mobile for any applications or any transactions or any requirement. Why? Why is that? Because the study says, the survey says that people, if you want to pay, you don't want to switch on a system on a desktop and open the application, then enter and everything. Rather, you want very fast. It's a fast moving world where you want to access everything on the go. That's the reason why the mobile came into existence. So everything you want to do it while the travel. You're traveling and you want to access, you want to pay, you want to purchase, you want to do many transactions, you want to send an email, you want to chat, everything you want to do it on the travel, because travel is the time where you spend lot of time wasting. You want to utilize it. The best device to utilize is mobile, and that's the reason everyone is moving towards mobile. When you're traveling, you feel like eating, you order it. Before you reach home, the food will be available. You want to purchase something, while the travel you were thinking about, oh, I want it for my home, you purchase it. So everything is possible with a hand mobile, and you don't want to open desktop and then log in and then do all these things. So everything is possible. Why? It's even secured. That's the reason if you have many businesses around you, people are moving to the mobile applications, it is good early you also enter into it. You never be late. The late you are, then you lose your market, then lose your business. So it's good you enter into the mobile applications services as early as possible. And it makes a good business sense as well, or else you're going to lose your business. It's an added value for your service. It's an added value. Consider you are giving a very good restaurant service, and you have been asking everyone to come and sit and have your dinner or the lunch. Now think about it, people doesn't want to visit your place during the time of COVID. Now no one wants to go visit the restaurant. Everyone wants to be home safely. So now they want everything to be at home. So now they want to order it. When do they want to order? While they are chatting with their friends or something like that. They don't want to open the desktop. Even laptop is costlier. Purchasing a mobile is very easier and it's cost effective. So you are going to open your mobile and order the food. So this is going to be an added service for a business perspective. If you are looking into the business perspective, it's an added value service. People are no more need to come to your place. They can order it. Who knows, one fine day, no one wants to sit at your place. Everyone wants to take it buy from your place. Everyone wants to do an order online. At that point of time, you don't have to spend a huge amount of time for your place, or you don't want to purchase any site or any occupancy or any space to run your restaurant. You can directly do it at a small place, and everyone can be ordered online, and everyone will sit at their home. So this makes a very good business sense. Then, is it good to go with the mobile applications or mobile website? Applications are the one which runs on your mobile devices, whereas websites, it is another website which gets opened on your mobile phones. So now, what is your requirement? It's always no one wants to use websites again on your mobile. They want to use mobile applications which fits and it express everything very neatly and small, and everything is clearly specified in your mobile applications. The feel what you get in a mobile applications, you don't get it in your mobile web applications. So that's the reason. It all depends again on your business interests and your requirements. So if you want to regularly keep on updating it, then it is very good to go with the web applications. If you don't have very less updations, hardly 3 months once releases, then it is good to go with your mobile applications. It all makes a sense only when your business requirement requires it, however it is. With this, these are all the preliminary considerations which you have to consider before considering the development activity or before starting your mobile application development activity. All one has to see is, what is your business rules says? What does it make any sense? This is what it is. Next, the very important aspect, even though many of you think that, oh, it is very easy, no, it is not so. The cost of mobile application development really matters. It is not an easy small way, because when you're developing an application for the whole world, then you have to consider every aspect. How do you fit into the screen of a small screen? How exactly you can make the user concentrate what you want to express? You have to consider the development costs as well. When you are doing development, what is your hardware cost? You require any extra hardware? Definitely you require an extra hardware, which means in a normal machine, it is not that suggested to develop an application. It requires a huge machines with a huge RAM and emulators to be installed. Then softwares, definitely you require added softwares. Either it is licensed or non-licensed, but you require a software wherein to Xcode or Visual Studio or Android Studio, such kind of softwares are required to develop a very good mobile applications. So few of them are licensed, few of them are free of cost. But you have to consider certain third-party tools can also be used to improve your UI screens, so which you have to see whether it is worth of considering it or not. Then apart from that, when you develop using hardwares and softwares, few other things we have to consider. When you develop in mobile applications, do you need to run it on an actual device? Then if you want to test it, because everything cannot be verified or tested on an emulator. So everyone wants to see whether it is going to run on exact device. The device is also needs to be purchased. On different devices does it run? Irrespective of the hardware and the software, the application has to run. It has to fit into the screen. The visuality and the functionality should work very fine. These aspects also need to be considered when the cost of development happens. So the last one is the license and development accounts. When you develop your application, where do you host it? Where do you make everyone to reach? So either you have to go to an Apple store or a Play store or any other stores wherein people go access your application, download, install and use. Only then it will be reached. Even after developing, if it doesn't reach to everyone, then it's a total waste. So every license, it makes a cost. If you are going to use someone's accounts, then the cost is involved. But these all aspects which were costing very high during a decade ago now cost very less. Every individual can develop an application and can host it on a Play Store or an Apple Store. But a decade ago, it was a higher cost to be considered. That's the reason. Cost doesn't matter over the period of time. The next consideration which you have to consider is the importance of mobile strategies in business world. You have to apply a lot of business strategies because there is a huge competition coming into picture. Many of the businesses are giving you better solutions, and consider a big telecom industry. Earlier, they used to make you pay visiting their point of service or through website. Now they are releasing many applications in such a way that you can make the payment very easily. Consider Google Pay application, which is one of the fastest leading application, which makes every pay so easily, which is based out of UPI. So the strategy is all depends on your business requirements. So how you are going to approach the development all depends on your business requirements. So it is very important to consider the strategy what you are going to follow while developing your mobile applications. Next, why is mobile development difficult? Is it really difficult? Yes, that's a question which arises. Is it very difficult to develop a mobile application? No, actually, but yes, a decade ago. When it got introduced, there was less technology available, there was less resource to learn and to develop it. And everything used to be considered, hardware, software and everything. But considering over the decade, now you have a huge resource set. You can develop wherever you want, an individual team. You don't require a complete team working on it. An individual person can develop a simple application. So it doesn't seem to be difficult nowadays, but it used to be difficult a decade ago. This is what I want to say. There are wrong assumptions, the myths, while developing in mobile application development. It is inexpensive to develop a mobile solution. If you consider a decade ago, it was expensive to develop. Because why it was so expensive, let me tell you. During a decade ago, you need to form a team and who are having experience in developing it. And it is not that easy to design a UI. UI plays a major role. The user interface plays a very, very major role in mobile applications. Almost 60% of your development time goes for your UI, because very important aspect is mobile devices are very small, and the things what you want to convey, you have to convey within the screen. And it should be either in terms of a color or a font selection or the images what you display, everything should be so well taken care that the UI takes more time in your mobile application development. You need a strategist or you need experienced people who have got very good experience in designing the interfaces for your mobile applications. So it used to be an expensive task in the early days. The cost has come down the decade, and further it will go down in the next one decade. But when we are talking, it was a decade before, it was an expensive, it doesn't seem to be a normal web application kind of a thing. It used to consider a lot of cost. It's easy to develop a mobile solution. Oh, consider solution is kind of a big actually. If you are considering a complete ERP can be developed in user mobile application, it used to be a difficult task. No business wanted to have their ERP solution on their mobile. But every business nowadays coming onto their ERP domain, because even the working employees are traveling. They want to access the complete infrastructure of the ERP over the mobile. So even that is going to be, earlier it was never used to be, it used to be very difficult to develop an ERP solution in mobile applications. Now it seems to be an easy one. We don't need a mobile presence. Is it true? No. Earlier there was no emulators or simulator to test when you develop an application, but over the period of time, we have the emulators and simulators. In the initial stages of mobile application development a decade ago, everyone has to test it on the real device, whether how exactly it fits in, how exactly the mobile looks like, the application looks like. But nowadays, emulators comes along with your SDK, the software development kit, and you don't require a specific mobile device to test it. You need a large development team. Yes, it used to be, and now also it depends. Again, it depends on the business perspective and the application size. Even if it is a ERP solution, you definitely require a huge team to develop. But if it is a small application, then a team of 3 or 4 is also fine. And if it can be developed even with a single team, as a single member team also. It all depends on what kind of application you are going to look into it. And is it less investment? Yes. It used to be a huge investment earlier, now it seems to be a less investment. But the major part of the investment goes for your marketing. When you develop your application, you have to market it. You have to have it in the right place. Only then there will be more number of users download and you will have a very good rating. So earlier it used to be huge expensive, now the investment has come down very less. These are all the certain assumptions which people used to have it. Now, the important aspect of today's class is getting into the real thing of user interface. Effective use of screen real estate. What do you mean by that? Consider you have a device of very small of 5.5 inch screen, a normal web mobile, and you have to see that when you are designing your user interface, everything fits inside that 5.5 inch screen. So you have to consider the minimalism, minimize your everything, every aspect has to be considered minimized. The next one is use a virtual hierarchy. This is hierarchy means proper flow should be there. Consider if you are going for any kind of application where you have to register first before using, then it should show you the flow, the actual hierarchy, how after giving your personal details, then you have to give your academic details, then you have to go with the payment options and many others. This flow need to be very well and clearly thought process, or else the mobile users will be really, they don't find that's good actually when they are using it. So the hierarchy has to be taught very well before we develop an application. Wow, how many screens are going to come? The very good principle to be followed is the less number of clicks, the better the user will use it. And you have to make sure that always the user is focused. From the time he opens your application till the end, you should maintain to focus the user on your, and you have to make sure that what he is looking into it, are you giving that information? You should never make him to search where is that information. So these are all the main user interface things which you have to consider while developing an mobile application, because that's, as I said, user interface takes 60% of your development time. So which means you need to see how minimal things you can keep it, how much you can keep him focused, and how you can tell him the flow of what you want to do. So these are also very important principles which you have to consider. Apart from that, there are some other UI principles, that is proximity, closure, continuity, figure and ground, and similarity. What exactly it means, these are all the theoretical aspects which you have to consider while developing. If you want to have a focused and a better application, then it is good we consider all these 5 items: the proximity, closure, continuity, figure and ground, and similarity. These are all the UI principles which we call. What do you mean by proximity? Let's observe it. If you are observing this diagram of a proximity, it is nothing but you are going to do a grouping. there is 3 icons which are grouped, there are 2 icons which are grouped, which means when you are developing your application, you have to very clearly group your icons or the buttons or the images in such a way that it falls under a proper place. Let me give an example. Consider you are going for an online application like Amazon or Flipkart. Now, whenever you want to move to the next page, you don't have to press on the top of the page or top of the application. You will always look into the bottom of it, which means you are grouping all your next things in the bottom, and whatever you are going to focus the user, that will be on the top of it or in the middle out of it. So which means you are going to group the important information will be in the center and the next information will be in the bottom. So this kind of a grouping, this we call it as proximity. Next is closure, very important part. Our mind is in such a way that even if you do not complete things, automatically considers it is completed. Look at this example of a triangle. Is it complete triangle? No, there is a small gap. But if you ask anyone, is it a triangle? They say yes. Is it complete? Yes. Because in such a way that our vision or the mind works, the brain works in such a way that even if you make a small mistake, it is considered overseen. You will not identify those small mistakes. But when you are developing it, the small mistakes are fine. And if you want to project any images or something like that, then you can always consider to reduce its size and present a low size image. Very simple example I will give you. Our WhatsApp application. Whenever we shoot an image, it will be in somewhere 10 MB. But when we upload it in the WhatsApp, it will turn out to be 1 MB. Which means a 10 MB has been reduced to 1 MB, but it doesn't appear to be, it is reduced. You are not missing any data when you look into that image. So this principle is because of the closure. You will never see, you can always identify this is this person in that image. Even though size is reduced, you are not missing the data, complete data out of it. So this principle is been taken from the closure property. The next one is continuity. There should be, for this one I will give you a very simple example. When the mobile came 2 decades back, there was a very favorite game which we used to play, the snake game. The snake game is such a way that with the navigation button, we used to always concentrate on the head of the snake. It will be moving whichever direction we want. So we never bothered the tail out of it. Always we bothered was a head, and we used to follow its continuity. In the same way, when you are watching a movie, you want to have a continuity. And in the same way, whenever you are purchasing something online, there should be a continuity from the time you pick an order until you complete the payment. So this is called as continuity. There should be a proper continuity process whenever you have to develop an application. So this is also a very important principle to be considered. Next, figure and ground. This is very important when we consider the best photography pictures. Whenever you take photography, you will come across there should be a proper background. If the background is poor, then you look, even though you look better, it looks very dark. So in such a way that there is, in this figure, if you are observing, this is our fore and this is our background. So when you are representing your screen, you should always consider the background color, background things, and on top of it what exactly you want to convey. Then it appears very well for the user. So this principle is also very important. The next is similarity. In this, there are 5 icons which you can see, mechanical icons. But if you are seeing, there are in different colors actually. What are the how many are similar in color? There are 3 of blue and 2 of black, which means color makes a huge difference in your mobile application development. selecting a proper color will make you group the items based out of the similarity. So this principle is also very important when you are considering developing a mobile application. So what are the things we have to consider: the proximity, the similarity, figure and ground, and continuity and similarity. All these 5 principles are very important when you are developing a mobile application user interface. If you follow these principles, the application will be in a better position and better. It will show you, it will end up with giving the right information for the user. With this, I'm going to end up the today's lecture class. And what exactly we learned today? We got to see the preliminary considerations before entering to the development of mobile applications. Then we looked into the cost of development. Then we analyzed the strategies to be followed in this business world. And is it difficult to develop an application, we saw. Then we went into the myths, wrong assumptions which we carry, which used to be carried in the decade ago, and now it is not carried. Then we looked into the very important aspects of the user interface, the real screen, real estate. Then we observed the UI principles. So with these things, we just introduced to you the mobile application development chapter 1. And we'll be continuing in the next class about continuation of the same UI designs and the introduction. Thank you all.